You're listening to the Holistic Nootropics Podcast, your home for holistic, evidence-based cognitive enhancement strategies.
Marko and Igor from OmniPEMF, welcome to the Holistic Nootropics Podcast. I'm excited to talk to you guys because you guys run this company, OmniPEMF. You make the NeoRhythm head device, and I've been fascinated by this device ever since I first read about PEMF technology. It really feels like one of these biohacks and one of these real kind of brain exercises that do so much for cognitive wellness. So maybe, Marko, you could start us off and just talk a little bit about the company OmniPEMF, how you started it, and then how you and Igor got involved together.
Well, we started, you can say, about 3 years ago. We started to develop first device, NeoRhythm, was meant to be a medical device to treat pain and to treat depression. But then during the development and during preparation to enter the market, we decided to downgrade everything, what we say, all the claims, and to prepare it as a wellness device. And the reason for doing this is because nowadays we can actually enter any country in the world, but if you register as a medical device, actually you have to enter state by state, and there is no money that is big enough to cover all the starting costs. Therefore, actually, we started with programs that are scientifically proven to be effective. I'm also talking about the programs like meditation program. Sleep program is something that is well known. PEMF is well known for that solves sleeping issues, very successful. And so we actually are covering everything what's going on in our lives. So we have to relax, we have to sleep, we have to meditate nowadays. This is must-have in this modern world. We take care of the pain, so we don't use medical claims about pain, treating pain, but just relieve pain or help you with pain. And so we made modern device on, we can say, 100 years old technology. And next to that, we added some of features that are quite unique on the market. One of these features is that NeoRhythm is gesture controlled, so there are no buttons, no wires, nothing that it's needed to start using it. So, and I think that we are the only one on device on the market that is actually using smartphone to program it. Yeah, so it gives you, using smartphone and these devices, PEMF devices, gives you a lot of opportunities what to do with PEMF device, which frequencies to implement, how to use it, how to program it. We can actually upgrade with everything that is new on the market with new knowledge. For example, we started to sell NeoRhythm about 1.5 years ago, so 1.5 years ago. And we started with 6 programs. 2 months ago, we added 50 new programs to all devices that are already sold on the market. So actually, it was a Christmas gift to our clients, and they get a whole new device, 11,000 devices. We just upgraded them like you upgrade your phone. And this kind of solutions, this kind of constant upgrade with new knowledge, new features, give our clients, I think, a whole new dimension what PEMF actually is. And next to that, for example, we started NeoRhythm as being TMS device. We're talking about device that is applied to the head, transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is low intensity transcranial magnetic stimulation. But now, after 1.5 years, a lot of clients ask us, why can I use this on my knee or my elbow? Why can I stimulate with? Regenerate my joints, and therefore we also added frequencies and a lot of accessories that help us to use NeoRhythm also on your knee. And we start to sell this 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we are adding in the next week another 10. So,
wow! So you guys are just expanding throughout the body, then?
Yeah. PEMF was first meant to be regeneration device, so for all body regeneration. Most, PEMF mats are well known, where you actually stimulate the whole body. But PEMF is NeoRhythm is localized PEMF device, so you can use it walking around, so you don't have to lay down everything. So it's very easy to use. And above all, to start using it, you don't even need your phone. You just have to tap it twice and it works. And this is what's even better, because a lot of elderly people don't know how to use their phones, smartphones, and therefore they just ask nearby people, children, just to prepare it for them and just tap it twice, and this is it. So you don't need nothing just to start it. Yeah.
That's so easy. Yeah, that's what, I mean, some of these wearable devices, I have a couple of them, and they can be so complicated when you have to rely on like your smartphone or like a sensor to do it, because sometimes, if you're like me, you got an old phone, you don't want to give in to like the big tech people and upgrade your phone every 6 months. So I've got like old operating system, and sometimes these apps, like they crash and then I can't use the device. But if yours is simple as just tapping it a couple times, I mean, that's like you said, if an elderly person can use it, surely, a 25-year-old can use it.
Maybe just to wrap up this part, what is even more important than selling device is building community. Yeah. So when building this device, we were thinking about ahead, how we will convince people to put this kind of device on your head, because we are stimulating brains. Yeah. And PEMF technology is 100% secure. It's safe. But still, when selling these kind of devices, people usually ask about the safety, and 99% of the users, they don't understand scientific studies behind. So they just trust you. They are familiar with Bluetooth and about the safety of Bluetooth, but we are all using Bluetooth devices. Now you're using one, I guess so, yeah? Or not, yeah?
I try not to use them too much, but they're unavoidable,
Yes. So when developing this device, we also made it possible that completely turn off Bluetooth. So you even don't need Bluetooth to start the device, to use device, yeah? So to continue where I started, that we built community now. We have around 5,000 people in our Facebook community. And what is important that now, after this year, me and my colleagues, we don't have to work anymore in our community, because people are helping each other how to use device, how to use PEMF technology. Because what works for me, it doesn't mean that it also works for you, because we are all different. We have different lifestyles. We eat differently. We live differently, and this is what matters. And therefore, exchanging experiences, this is where PEMF becomes very successful. And what is also important, that we are honest with ourselves. So meaning that, for example, we have very demanding clients. They are under stress for the whole day. They didn't sleep for a whole night. And then they want our device to work in the evening so that they get relaxed. So, but what is important, that understand that we have to follow certain rules in our lives in order that's something that helps you. So if you would like to get relaxed in the evening, you also have to use NeoRhythm during the day, or you have to take care of yourself during the day. You cannot run marathon before going to bed and then put NeoRhythm on your head and that you will fall asleep. You won't. You cannot drink coffee before going to bed and then just use NeoRhythm, expect that it will work 100%. It won't, because NeoRhythm or PEMF technology is natural thing, and it has to work with you and for you, but it cannot work against you.
That's great. And I'm curious, maybe Igor, you're a better person to ask this to, but can you explain a little bit about what transcranial stimulation and PEMF is?
Well, transcranial stimulation is meant to be something. Originally, it was a very intensive, actually, stimulation. So with intense magnetic fields of low frequency, and transcranial means that these waves passed your brain. So it went through your brain as a very strong pulse that is capable of inducing so-called action potential. So it is possible to really fire your neurons, from the energy of this magnetic pulse. So in the way, originally, this rhythmic transcranial magnetic stimulation was based on high intensity pulses. This is up to and beyond 1 Tesla. This is a very strong field. And of course, this means it is invasive. It actually forces neurons into firing. Now, through time, low intensity transcranial magnetic stimulation developed, and it is used also in the NeoRhythm. It can be called also PEMF. I mean, if it is applied on the head, it can be called low intensity or low level repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, or just PEMF stimulation. It is of much lower intensity, which means that it cannot fire neurons, but it still may work in the way that is called entrainment, and it is actually something like a resonance between magnetic, applied magnetic field and the brain waves in the head. You know that you have this different brain waves like delta. This is very slow waves during our sleep, for instance, and then theta waves, 4 to 8 hertz when you are deeply relaxed or inward focused, or then alpha hertz, alpha waves with 8 to 12 hertz when you are very relaxed or you have a passive attention. Then there are beta waves around 12 to 35 hertz, where anxiety is dominant, or you are very active with external attention and not very much relaxed. And there is interesting waveband beyond that. There are so-called gamma waves, which it is interesting can be spotted also during meditation, for instance, and they are above 35 hertz and can span up to 100 hertz if you wish. So basically, what we do with PEMF stimulation is to resonate with these different wavebands, and of course you choose the wavelengths or frequency that is adjusted to your purpose here. So if you want that the person is supported in his or her meditation, then you would use, for instance, some frequency from theta band, so from 4 to 8 hertz, for instance. And this means that through entrainment, your brain waves would be strengthened in this frequency, and your meditation would be perhaps more supported, easier, to achieve. If you want to sleep, you would choose somewhere between 0.5 or 2 to 4 hertz, for instance. And because, again, through entrainment, you would enhance this part of brain waves that are most conspicuous during sleep. And you would then induce sleep in your brain, or support it in a non-invasive, non-aggressive way. So this is what is important here, and is distinctively different from this high-intensity RTMS.
And was PEMF technology readily available for people at home? I feel like this was a thing you had to go to a doctor's office for, or you had to go to a specialist for in the past.
Well, not with us. I think that they are, at least in our country, and I think that in the Europe, you these different devices are on the market. Of course, for certain health indication, they must be registered as medical devices. This is one part of this. But NeoRhythm is a wellness device. Marko can speak more about that. So, because it is not a directly health supportive device, so it does not heal. But it is not aggressive, non-invasive, but it can support certain processes in the brain and in the head as a whole. So no need for the doctor.
Okay, if I may add here, for example, if we're talking about the PMF devices, that 90% of the PMF devices on the US market are actually wellness devices. They're registered as wellness devices. About 10% are registered as medical devices, and those who are medical devices are more or less treating depression or this field. And so we are talking about the TMS devices that are applied to the head, and only few devices are registered to treat pain. So this is one niche, technology niche, where actually nobody wants to enter market as a medical device, because then it's very hard to sell it. So it's used usually, all those who sell wellness devices, they don't use medical claims. They use claims like regeneration or help you with sport activities. And in NeoRhythm, we totally cover different fields. We cover meditation, relaxation, sleep, and this area, which is registered as a wellness area. So to give you one comparison, that in the Japan, NeoRhythm could be only sold as a medical device, and we are not allowed to use the word relaxation. In Europe, in the US, we are wellness device. But for example, in June, we will start to sell in the US another device which is very much similar to NeoRhythm, but we will use medical claims to treat pain, because NeoRhythm was developed as such, and it will be registered as a medical device in the US. Yeah.
So as it's registered as a medical device, does that mean you can buy one off your website? Like I could just go on your website and buy one, or I can. No. Okay, so you'd have to go to a doctor to use that.
Yeah, you have to get a prescription. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And what is your PEMF story, Marko? Is this something that helped you at some point along the way? How did you discover this technology for yourself?
Well, this was quite a story. It was yeah. Actually, about 6 years ago, 7 of us started to develop one similar device. Not similar. It was a very basic PM device, where actually we started to stimulate or to use this coil system and wired with our smartphone. So actually choose the program on your smartphone, and then you stimulate your head. But actually it wasn't successful because of some personal stories, that were involved in this, our first market attempt. And then about 3 years ago, I met the right person, and that was Igor. Because developing this kind of project, we can make it technically work, we can do everything, but to make it actually scientifically supported, you need to have someone that actually understand how this technology works. What does pulse mean? What is needed to be done? What do you have to do in order to stimulate the right way, the right to apply it to the right part of the body? How long should it be applied? So we're talking about the stimulation program. You also have to understand all the scientific studies behind. And on NeoRhythm, we have around 20 people, 20 engineers, doctors that work on this device in order to make it successful. When me and Igor joined our forces, we can say that we have everything to understand the product, how the product should work. And then also we invited other experts in the field of plastic production and in the field of medical device production. These are two other companies that actually joined forces, and that we actually then created the product like this. Because if you ask me, one thing that is the most important and the hardest to do on this launching this product is plastics. So the question is how to make a headband that would fit 99% of all heads in the world. Yeah, this is quite engineering achievement, if you ask me, to make it so flexible that would fit most of the heads, that would stay actually on the head. And this is one thing. And then how to make it effective, this is another thing. So each frequency is based on the scientific word. Everything what we say is scientifically supported, either through different clinical studies, either through scientific studies, because we cannot do clinical studies for relaxation, for example. Either it's possible, but you have to have clinical, all the strategy, everything, the clinical studies should follow certain rules. Yeah. So if you ask me, one of the biggest achievement is the plastics, but not for you. Yeah, the plastic, you take it something for granted. Yeah. But for me, I know what we had problems before, and today we have actually not just the device, we had something that we are proud of. You can put it on your head, it stays there, and it works. This is what matters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, considering it's a headband, yeah, I would hope that it would stay on your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not something you can take for granted, because there are millions of heads, and on 99% it works. Yeah, this is what matters.
That's amazing. Yeah, because there's so many of these wearable device, these pieces of technology, they make a lot of promises, but then, and they might do it, they might the actual stimulating part might work, but then like these ancillary parts, right? Like if you have a wristwatch or like a wrist vibrator thing, and the strap literally can't like stay on your wrist, well then the wrist thing is no good. If you got a headband and the thing can't stay on your head, then what's the point, right? So yeah, I mean, and people are very picky when it comes to comfort, So like if you have this piece of plastic on your head and it's painful, or it doesn't fit right, or it falls off, it slips around, if it buzzes too hard, these are things people complain about. So yeah, I mean, if this is a thing that you've put a lot of time in, and you can honestly say like, hey, this is a very good feature that you might not care about, but we took a lot of time, then I as a consumer am actually happy about that. You guys actually care about how does this thing feel for me, because it's going to make me want to use it more.
Yeah, this is one thing that a lot of things had to go side by side, hand by hand, in order to make it successful. What I said before, we have a very large community, and what we do is just listen. So what works for you doesn't work for me. So we just put a lot of people in one place in order that they can communicate to each other. Not only positive things are always discussed about. So we also have a lot of complaints, but what is important then to listen. And also, for example, we started with one post in our Facebook community. It's called Ask an Expert. And this is where we also invited Professor Igor, where he actually shared his experience, because it's not only enough that that you give, okay, this is now predefined program, use it and it will get better. No, they have to understand that they have to also live normal life in order to come all the pieces together on the right place. So like I talked before about a coffee, about running marathon before going to bed. So we have to also respect our body, and also then all these kind of appliances, all these kind of gadgets then will help us. Before you ask me why we chose actually PMF technology, we chose it because we noticed two things. PMF works for the majority of people. If you Google, you will get all the answers. If you just Google PMF, if you Google TMS, and everything connected with magnetic stimulation. But what is also most important that if you take a look of all the PMF devices on the market, they are actually ugly. Yeah, they don't look good. Yeah, they were designed in the 70s and they stayed the way they are. So there is no integration with modern technology like phones. They're not programmable. They're very hard to use. There is a lot of wires, and therefore we combined modern approach and old technology. And I think that this is a recipe for success. But what we added to all of this, that we listen to the market, and because not all people were successful in staying NeoRhythm on the head, because there are some are really small or some really big. With those big headed, we cannot help because we have some limitations, yes. But we then added also accessories, textile headband, in order to fix it the way it should be. Because some are running, some are exercising yoga with NeoRhythm, and it cannot stay on your head. It's not possible. Therefore, we added different colors, and some are looking like like aliens, or they feel like aliens having this on their head. Therefore, we invented covered so that it's not that NeoRhythm cannot be seen. Yeah. So we listen to the market. This is all I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at earlier, is that when I think of something like cranial stimulation, I think of like a machine with wires and like things that you like tape on your head. And obviously you're not going to go anywhere with that. You do it like, it almost looks very scary to use. And when I look at the when I look at the NeoRhythm, it does look a little sexy. It looks like it came out of Star Trek. It looks like a thing that not to say you would want to show up to a party with this thing, but if you did show up to a party, it wouldn't be like, hey, what's wrong with that guy? It would be like, hey man, where do I get one of those things?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is it. Yeah. So we may show. Yeah. Okay. We are speaking about that. Okay.
Yeah. See, Igor, dead sexy. Dead sexy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So with the NeoRhythm, as far as it's, because if you added 50 new programs to it, what kind of benefits are you seeing from users right now?
Should I or should you, Igor? I can tell from customer experience because I answer every day, but if I don't know how to answer, then usually Igor answers. So okay. I would say that the biggest benefit would be that users can explore different programs in order to explore what are all the possibilities. The first reason is that what works for me doesn't mean that it works for you. Yeah. So Igor prepared also all kind of protocols, what is needed to be done in order to have enough information to choose among different options. Yeah. For example, I could say that I created, or I had the biggest stake in developing NeoRhythm from technical point of view, not from scientific point of view. But when I place NeoRhythm under my pillow or next to my head, I have to move it about 30 to 40 centimeters away, because the predefined sleeping program is too intense for me. So it actually wakes me up what is supposed to make me more sleepy, to make me fall asleep. Yeah, because the intensity is too high for me, for myself. Yeah, but there are a lot of people in the community and also among our distributors. For example, Doctor in Norway, Norway also is selling our product, and he had the same experiences. And what we learned is that we can now give suggestion to our clients. If it's too intense, if it wakes you up, actually what's supposed to make you sleepy, then just distance it a little bit, move it away from the head. So why is this? This is the best answer would give you, Igor. For it's just that I was nervous in the middle of the night. What's going on? I didn't know. So I just moved it away and I fall asleep immediately. So this is what is going on, that we have to explore what are different frequencies, what intensity means. So what Igor prepared is scientific background in order to understand it, because he really understands how neurons work, how cells work, how everything is going on. because we are very complex creatures. Therefore, we need to explore. So, number one answer to this would be to explore ourselves, because we are all different. And number two, it's also fun, because when you really realize that something you put on your head and relaxes you, this is weird. Yeah, okay, some device made of plastic actually relaxes you. Can you imagine but the science behind, the logic behind, it's only one word, is physics, is biology. Yeah, so it works because there is a logic behind it. But if you hold it in your hand, it's just a piece of plastic. Yeah,
So as far as because you've talked a lot about the relaxing benefits of it, the sleep, the meditation, but it also seems like a good tool for energy. And I'm really interested in the benefits of energy, of focus, of stimulation in a way. Maybe you could speak a little bit about how the NeoRhythm really kind of amps your mind up if you have if it's a good thing to use if you have a project you're working on or a big task, or you have to even focus on training or anything like that.
Well, actually, the device enhances with its established program also mental enhancement or vigilance, if you wish. Yeah? And it has also a program for higher energy. So with these programs, we actually, of course, all this is based on scientific research. This means our group, the Bauer Institute, researched two of these programs in a way that was subject to clinical conditions. So with placebo control and all this, which is important for clinical research study to have really this status. And so we tested also this vigilance and program, or a program for higher attention, and with physiological measurements and also by certain psychological tests. And what we saw in this research was that, for instance, the brainwaves really show high alertness, and that lowering of error making in a special test that was performed during this, measurement and exposure to the brain, this PEMF waves. And what is important is that the results showed also higher relaxation, which wouldn't be, just expected from the waves that should enhance beta waves. But it worked in that way, and less energy consumption. So we researched this, and this is already included into the standard programs of NeoRhythm. And there is also a program for higher energy. It works in, almost in gamma range of brain waves. And it has really, invigorating influence. So all this is possible. Not only relaxation or sleep, but also it can enhance or stimulate our brain to work more efficiently and, in higher terms, Okay.
Yeah. Because I think that's a real important quality, because people are looking for, one tool, right? It can get a little overwhelming if you have, I have one thing for my sleep and relaxation. I have another thing for my energy. I have another thing for, it can get a little overwhelming. And what I like about this tool, just from reading the the research that you guys have put out and the copy online is that this really seems like a tool that can be used all throughout the day. So, you have your times of waking up, getting going in the morning, and then, working on, high mental acuity tasks, like right now I'm going back to school and I'm doing, I'm in these classes that are a little hard. I need something that can help me keep my focus. And I think a lot of people are looking for something like that. But then later on in the day, like I need to start turning my brain off. And, when you go from being busy and being a high performer all throughout the day, the other part of that is how do I rest? How do I recover? And it sounds like this is one of those tools you can use to really slow things down and then get that recovery, something that'll slow down your heart rate, something that'll boost your HRV, something that will get your brain into a parasympathetic state and really turn on all those recovery processes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is possible. I mean, this is in this sense because it is similar to a radio station or a TV station. You have one device from which you can look or hear, talks or music and classical music or modern music, whatever, And so here it's something similar. Or if you have, the cinema, you can in the same place see horror movies or some movies from the history or, documentary and so on. So here it's the same principle. You have only one such little device, and of course with many frequencies. So with some 8 or 9 standard programs, and then as Marko explained, there was some extension of this into many more frequencies and some more possibilities of choosing intensities. And of course, there were also some guidelines how to use this, how to cope with this. I mean, how to find which does the best for somebody. And really, you can go from, let's say, these very low delta waves to very high gamma waves, and so stimulate very, very different states of brain and support different even opposite physiological states.
And how do you see it working with like mood issues? So something like depression, anxiety, even maybe, into like the bipolar, the schizophrenic. Is this a good, not to say that you're giving any kind of medical advice or anything like that. And, but do you see this as a tool maybe for something like that?
Maybe Marko, if you have any, I can speak more in the sense of scientific research. We made also a clinical study about that, or a clinical evaluation, sorry. And so we did a lot of scientific literature review about this issue. And of course, you can help with this, but you must choose very carefully this stimulation regime, which means frequency, the duration, of such session, then the position in the head, for instance, and then also how long should it, last, and so on. So I think that sometimes during the development of this NeoRhythm or some other similar devices, we will do such possibility, of application. But this means that the device should be a medical device. And Marko can explain even some more about, these experiences through the community about that. I don't know so much about this. Yes. And okay.
Maybe that when we get these kind of questions about the depression, about the anxiety, what you mentioned before, we are really careful about it because we are not familiar with the background of each person. Therefore, We sell NeoRhythm only as to users, to people who are actually healthy, so that they don't have this kind of problems. If they are not only because of the safety, and we have to be fair with people that we are not familiar and using this kind of devices, they first should consult their doctor. Yeah, this is one thing that we are always honest, and it's also written everywhere that that not that it is dangerous, because the NeoRhythm, actually we choose frequencies, intensities that are safe, but they shouldn't have some false hope what this could do to them, because it's really complex product. Yeah, this is the first thing. The second thing is that on the other side, that we design NeoRhythm for medical upgrade. So there is a very similar device. It's called Re5. They have webpage re5.com. There is a medical device from Denmark. And actually, this device has the same intensity, very similar intensity, frequencies. Also, positioning is very similar, if not the same in some cases, to NeoRhythm. And we are aware that in the future, NeoRhythm could be upgraded to become medical device to treat depression. But for the time being, because it's a very complex product, we usually suggest people to use it for sleep, to use it to relax, to use it to focus when needed. Yeah. So to use it to sleep when needed, to use it to relax when needed, and use it to focus when needed. And believe me, that will also help with depression. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is always a fair answer that relying on device like this to treat some very heavy, very severe illnesses, this is not a smart thing to do. And we are honest with our clients, and we usually say don't use it if you have such problems.
Yeah. And that goes a lot to say about depression itself, which is a very complex disorder. I mean, even anxiety.
Yeah. Maybe I should just stress out a little thing about, because I mentioned maybe before, if you use PMF to treat pain, it's actually medical device in the US. I'm talking about the US class 1 device. So this is the lowest version. So if you use devices like Dream, I don't know if you're familiar with Dream. This is French, very strong French, very good French company. This is device for insomnia. It's very similar to Muse. Yeah, for meditation.
I know Muse. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dream is similar device based on EEG technology, but it's class 2A device in the US. In Europe, it's actually wellness device. Yeah. So you have, but if you use the same device in the US, so we're talking about the PMF device, Transcranial Pulse Electromagnetic Field device. Yeah. If you use it to treat depression, it's actually PMA device, pre-market approval device. Yeah, but the technology is the same. Yeah, it's just that you use it for different things. Yeah.
Ah, wow.
So this is the logic behind it. The problem in today's market is that it's not the device itself. You can use the same device on your head, and if you use medical claims, it's actually a pre-market approval device. And this is some inconsistency on the market. What's going on? That actually in Europe you can use it, in US you cannot use it. In Japan you cannot use work relaxation. I was shocked. Yeah, this is the reality how it goes. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the problem is too many lawyers.
Yeah, I cannot comment this, but yeah, so we are actually basic meditation relaxation device, and therefore also actually we now registering, we are using as a whole body device in order to give people what are all the options how you can use it. But PMF is like I don't know how to say ganja. Yeah, how to say ganja?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I'm cool.
Like
hey, I'm cool. I know what you're saying.
It is forbidden almost everywhere, ganja, but we all know that it's cure, but it's forbidden almost everywhere. You're treated like criminals. But for example, in the last year, in some countries, I think it's California, that it's not forbidden anymore. It's allowed to use ganja for all kind of purposes. But in Europe, you go to prison, or at least in some countries in the US, you go to prison. In other countries, in California, you are completely safe. You can use it. That's the problem. That's the hypocrisy.
Right. Yeah. It's tough to speak to it, like you said, like mood and making claims like that. And I totally get it. Even without like the goofy regulation stuff, I think a lot of people that deal with these disorders, it's more than just the mental. There's a lot of full body component. There's a lot of inflammation and pain and past trauma that plays into that as well. So one device it wouldn't be wise, even if you could, to say that something like this could, because a lot of people start throwing around the word cure, and then a lot of people say the word treat, and you don't want to go down that road. Yeah, I totally get it. One last thing I wanted to ask you then also is about, maybe you can't speak to like mood disorders, but can you speak to anything like neuroinflammation or because you're saying, this can help with pain. Does that also include like inflammation in the brain or some kind of neuroprotective feature that the transcranial stimulation promotes?
Well, I would say that from the studies, with PEMF, if I go to just another area, but I will move back then. With PEMF, there are very recent, fresh articles, scientific articles, that involve the so-called in vitro studies, so on cells, on cancer cells. It is seen in evident, there are images, pictures about that you can even almost stop metastasis, by PEMF, 50 hertz or so, So PEMF can be very, very effective, more than ordinary scientists would think, So it can even stop or at least help with cancer, treatment. So if we move to this level of healing, because you mentioned neuroinflammation. Now, again, it is possible to find frequencies and certain other regimes. So it means intensities and duration and repetition of this, all, treatments for neuroinflammation and other similar things. But again, this would mean that the device should be a healing device. And you should find certain scientific articles that match your device in the form of the magnetic field that is applied. You can have the same intensity of magnetic field, same frequency, but another form, like it can be sine form, or it may be square form. It is used in NeoRhythm, and it was even in this cancer research, for instance, the square form was found the most efficient. Then it can be a triangular form, and so on. So there are many things that you should know with this. So it is a very careful work, and it is not just that you just read an article and you put it on NeoRhythm, and now you make it as a device for combating neuroinflammation. I mean, in principle, many things are possible with PEMF, but all this needs time and application, and also legislation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm also interested in if there's any research on actual like neurons in the brain, because you were talking about brain, the actual cell, but is there any research on like neuroregenerative properties? Like, does it help like BDNF, let's say, or any like growth factors?
Yeah, there are certain researches, but I may say, because I was preparing a clinical study in the sense of evaluation, clinical evaluation for this healing device for neuroregeneration. And there are studies about that, but on animals, like on frogs, on frog nerves, and so on. And yes, it can help regeneration of nerves. But it is interesting that at least to some 2 or 3 years back, there were no really good studies done on that, So it is difficult on live people. I mean, it can be done on animals or in vitro on cells, but it does not suffice for such device to use claims on humans, you must do this as a clinical research on living persons, not on just frogs or so, yeah.
Sure.
But it is possible, yeah.
That's encouraging. I mean, again, you can't make the claim that it will do this, but to know that there is some evidence out there.
Sorry, I even know certain articles that claim that even Alzheimer's can be, at least to some measure, combated by PEMF, But again, these are some pilot studies, and so it's not yet full science, yeah.
Yeah.
And some time must still pass, before we can say, okay, now we have this frequency, this stimulation regime, and we can do something for Alzheimer patients.
Sure. So again, it goes back to you're not going to make the claim that if you have Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or something like that, that this is going to help that per se, or this is going to treat that.
But there are studies also for Parkinson's, for instance. And so, I mean, yes, there are, but, it is just, again, this must be then proclaimed as a medical device with all background, and it's not so easy.
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My point is more, you're not going to get it to do that, but it's almost like a benefit, like a side benefit of using it. Like if you're using it for these things like sleep and relaxation and meditation, there could be the downstream effect.
Yes. It may be just because, through this PEMF stimulation, you bring certain rhythm into brain, and it seems that this rhythm is very important, so that many illnesses can stem from chaos, I don't know how to know this, but life, as such, or let's say healthy life, is based on certain balance between chaos and rhythm. So if you have too much rhythm, you are again nearing some illness. I don't know if you know that. If your heart is, which this means HRV, is pumping too rhythmically, then you can be very ill, actually, and you can expect heart attack in the near future. And of course, the same thing is if the rhythm is chaotic, then you have also the heart attack, So what is important, and what even our heart is teaching us, is that the balance between rhythm and chaos is important for life. So, and many times, when our organisms and our lives are under stress, these processes, even neuronal processes, are becoming too chaotic. And through the use of this magnetic pulse stimulation, you bring more rhythm And by that, you can support organisms, self-healing capability to combat, for instance, something like Alzheimer's or Parkinson and so on, and inflammation and whatever. So this is something that I would call a general health impact of PEMF on brain or the whole body,
Yeah, the concept of heart rate variability has been something that I've really dove headfirst into this last year. I have a ring, an Oura ring, which measures my heart rate variability while I sleep, and it's such a wild concept to think you need more heart rate variability, whereas you need lower heart rate, right? And it's such a, like, I think about it in terms of like, well, your heart, you're right, doesn't want to be too rhythmic,
it shouldn't be.
It needs to be a little bit more like a little more chaotic, almost like it's just adjusting to the rhythms of the day.
To different rhythms. Yes. This is the theory behind.
Yeah, and that's such a cool concept. And then when you start to understand how that affects, I mean, not just your general health, but also like your mental health, right? Because you're starting to, the more chaotic your heart is, the more variability you get with your heart, the calmer you are. And so, and then it works the same way with your head controlling that heart rate variability. So there is this symbiotic relationship between the two. So it's like, if you can use this device to calm the waves, to relax, and then you get that better heart rate variability.
What I should add here is only that in NeoRhythm, actually, we use square pulses, and what is important with the square pulses is that actually not only this basic frequency is applied then, we do not experience our body, our cells are not experiencing only this basic pulse, like let's say 4 hertz, 4 hertz, but also higher harmonics of them. And because this pulse is very steep, it means that there are many higher harmonics, which is similar to this HRV, so there are then many frequencies that work simultaneously on the organism, but all in the rhythmic wave, so that the organism actually can adapt to this frequency that it uses, it wants, it needs, and it's not only one frequency. This is important with the NeoRhythm, so that you have a multiple of frequencies actually used through this square wave, and higher harmonics, which goes with it.
Wow, that is so cool. It's almost like a cheat code in a video game, right? Like it's very hard to access these rhythms and these waves just by living your life, unless you go to a mountain and forego all of the things of the 21st century and you meditate for 20 hours a day and you have no stress in your life. But obviously most of us don't have time to do that. So the question is then, well, how do I access those waves? And in this normal everyday life where there's stress, there's jobs, there's all of these things, it's very difficult. We find ourselves going to a lower frequency, right? And so the thing I love about tools like the NeoRhythm, from just what I'm gaining from this conversation, is now we have that cheat code. We have that, that headband we can pop on, and now we can hack into those. We can get those brain waves, and, it's going to have a different effect for everybody. Like Marko was saying, the sleep mode was a little too intense for him, but for somebody else, it might be perfect. But just to be able to access those rhythms and get your heart rate variability to experience these different levels, I could see it making a profound difference in someone's life.
Yes. It can do that. Yeah.
Well, this has been really cool. I'm so happy I got the chance to talk to you. Like I told you before, that I've been looking at the NeoRhythm, and I've been writing about it and learning about PEMF, and it's such an exciting technology. I wish you guys nothing but the best, that you can grow this and really expand your community to help more people.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, before we sign off, is there anywhere that you can send listeners or viewers of the video to go learn more about the NeoRhythm and your company and what you guys are developing in the future?
Yeah, we suggest just to learn as much as possible about themselves. So about the frequency, about the how they can actually, by healthy lifestyle, by listening to your nature, and this includes also NeoRhythm or PMF devices, that they should just stop a little bit and listen to themselves. Yeah, and in this with this the same philosophy, we are thinking all the time how to give as much as possible with the current solution that we have, but we will add new frequencies, new logic behind, but also new explanations how to use them, how everybody else are using this, what helped others in order to help you, and also we will develop into we will go in this direction to make solution that will energize whole body. So either it's localized or it's a whole body solution. So if you ask me, that PMF is answer almost to every problem on this planet. Maybe this is a very hard word, but for example, in Canada, it's registered. PMF is used to treat cancer. So yeah, this is very, very strong claim. And PMF is on the other side used to treat depression. Can you imagine cancer and depression? On the third side, PMF is used to treat pain. It's registered and it's FDA approved. Yeah. So we use it. We use PMF to relax, to sleep. Yeah. So one of the largest researchers from Dr. Pelka was made that PMF proved to treat insomnia. So now we have cancer, depression, insomnia, anxiety, cell regeneration. We have done everything what is problem in the world, and PMF can answer this. So what we need is just more and more researchers, but next to that, we need more and more communities, groups where people educate each other, that they communicate each other. Because, for example, we have to pay Facebook a lot of money to sell one device, but on the other side, we just have to invite our users, potential buyers, to our community and just ask them, and this is for free. So knowledge is everything. And for example, this is where Igor is something that we cannot miss in this project, because what we sell and what we think we know, he actually understands it. So this is where we join our forces in order to make successful story. And I believe that, for example, we have a lot of now gadgets on the market, and I think that more gadget means more healthy life. With Oura Ring, like you mentioned, you explore yourself. You actually understand how you live, what your heart does, actually you understand your body with Oura Ring, and combining, for example, Oura Ring and NeoRhythm, what you find out, you can stimulate. So we are also thinking about how to get some kind of devices, Oura Ring, EEG devices, and then stimulate with entrainment devices like NeoRhythm.
Yeah. When you can use an Oura Ring, when you can use your NeoRhythm, and then you can measure it on the Oura Ring, that's the ultimate, hack track, cycle right there. Because you can tell, you can say if your HRV is rising, if your HR is going, if your deep sleep is popping, if your REM's popping, it's incredible for sure.
What we found out that with NeoRhythm, you can change you can relax, you can get relaxed. This was proved in our scientific study. You can it calms down your heart rate in 10 minutes. NeoRhythm. That's
amazing.
That's amazing. So something you can actually entrain you can then measure by Oura ring. Yeah, this is something we would like to put together, but this is a lot of knowledge on both sides how to connect. So this is something for Igor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Again, it goes back to the whole full body mental health, your mood. You can't say, again, does this cure depression? But if you can lower your heart rate within 10 minutes, you can calm yourself down, So if you're somebody who deals with a lot of panic attacks, if you have a hard time focusing, if you can lower your heart rate, you can jump into the zone. You can jump into, a better mental state and genuinely feel better. When people feel better, the world's your oyster at that point.
Yeah.
So
what we learned so far in this 1 year and something is that we should educate people in order to use not only our devices, but to use all kind of devices, also Oura ring, so that if you understand what you're doing, if you listen to your body, if you understand that you have to have healthy lifestyle, you have to eat healthy. Everything has to be in balance in order to get somewhere. Otherwise, you cannot fool your body all the time. It's not possible. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then expect to heal it by some outer energy. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad you guys.
Sorry if I only add here. Yes, because through NeoRhythm, this magnetic stimulation does not bring energy into body. Actually, it brings something more like information, or let's say rhythm. Certain rhythms that are then understood by the body in the right sense, so that body can actually use these rhythms for self-healing or for re-establishment of its stable point, of its equilibrium. This is important.
It's very important. Yeah. Homeostasis, bring in the body, into that. Yeah. That's what we gotta, that's where we want to live, want to live in that nice.
This is it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, it's like to repeat what Marko said, it's not just the device, but the device, it's a cheat code, so for these people who are, you need a jump start. And I tell people this all the time. It's like, if when you feel what it's like to feel good, it's very hard to go back. So if you have a machine, if you have a device that can give someone just that insight into what it's like to feel good, then they'll start to make those other changes. The diet will come, the lifestyle will come, because when you go back, you feel it even more. And that's a powerful tool. So I thank you guys for taking the time to create it and building what sounds like a very strong community. And I hope I can really help get the word out about it and, get more exposure for what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So for more information, everyone can just go check out OmniPEMF.com. Is that a good place to go?
Yes. And our Facebook community. So
and how do they find that? Just Google, just search
just Google it. Yeah, just Google it. Yeah. OmniPEMF community. Yeah.
OmniPEMF in Facebook. Okay. Yeah. Well, Marko and Igor, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I hope all the best for you guys and OmniPEMF. And listeners, if you enjoyed this podcast, please head on over to OmniPEMF.com. Check out Marko and Igor's community on Facebook. And for the show notes to this show, including all the links to these guys, the links to the OmniPEMF, and all the scientific references, be sure to check out holisticnootropics.com. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening. For more brain-boosting info, in-depth articles, and show notes, check out holisticnootropics.com.